The hashtag out there is Ruto must go. Doesn't need much interpretation, does it? Protesters want you out of office. How do you respond to that?
Everybody is entitled to their opinion. I have a job to do. We are a country of rules. We are a constitutional democracy and citizens, because we all enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Citizens are free to engage in discourse that they want to, but that is what it is. Those are the fruits and signs of a democracy.
But this is no ordinary discourse, Mr. President. Over 20 people are dead. 39 are missing through state-driven abductions. And first, they're asking a very simple question. 24 people dead. Your Excellency, do you have blood on your hands?
I have no blood on my hands. 19 people, to the record that I have from the security agencies, are dead. Very unfortunate. As a democracy, that should not be part of our conversation. 2.4 billion of property has been destroyed. The office of the Chief Justice has been burnt. City Hall has been burnt. Parliament has been burnt. That is the situation.
Let's turn lives. Let's turn lives, Your Excellency.
19
let's
people
turn lives,
dead.
Your Excellency.
We have 19
I said
people
24.
Dead.
You said 19. Let's turn lives.
And number two,
Your Excellency.
On abductions.
Your Excellency, let's turn lives. There are people who are burying their children, whether they're 19 or 24. And they're watching now, and they want to see how you feel about the deaths. Give us your feelings, Your Excellency.
Let me tell you the following. Any life that is lost is something that must bother anybody, beginning with myself. And it is the reason why I have told you that when I came into office, I said three things. Number one, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. And I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. Number two, when I came into office, I said I want an independent police service. And I did sign the necessary instruments so that the police does not need permission, does not need authority, and does not report to the office of the president. The police operational, financial independence, I have made sure that the police don't have to ask me, don't ask anybody. They operate independently. And number four, it is true that children got into situations that they became victims of the demonstrations. What started to all of us, and I have spoken about it, I have said the young people who have stepped forward to engage in the political discourse of their country in a peaceful manner, tribeless, are a welcome development in Kenya. That I said. But let me also say the following. These great young people who have stepped forward to prosecute their agenda, the affairs of the country, I am certain that they did not burn parliament. Criminals and other agents who took advantage of a legitimate concern of Kenyans, stepped in, went and banned the Chief Justice's office, went and banned City Hall, went and banned Parliament, and destroyed property of innocent citizens.
The parents, Mr. President, what are you telling them? These things have happened under your watch.
I am telling every parent, I have kids like they do. And I care when there are issues in town where criminals can take advantage of situations and create a situation where the police have to use rubber bullets, the police have to use live bullets in some cases, because that is what an independent police service has to do. And I am sure the police have a record and have an explanation for every incident that they were engaged in.
And here is the incident, Mr. President. Here is the incident, Mr. President. This boy, 12-year-old, took 8 bullets into the body of a 12-year-old boy. What would you tell the mother of that boy?
That boy is alive, right?
No, it's not.
Kennedy Onyango died.
He's died.
So he's the one who died?
Yes.
So you're not talking about the person who was shot with rubber bullets?
No.
No.
Yeah?
Shot with bullets 8 times.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
In Ngong, this is the situation in Ngong, right? In Ngong, there was an incident where the police were overpowered by criminals. They took firearm from the police. They used that firearm against people. And one policeman had to shoot this fellow who had hijacked a gun from a policeman so that not to endanger the lives of more citizens. It is among the 3 people. One of the criminals is among the 3 people who was shot by the police after they overpowered the police and took the bullet and took the gun from the police and used it against innocent citizens. I cannot confirm to you that this is not the man that shot the child, but investigations are going on and we will get to the bottom of it.
Mr. President,
I am telling the mother of this young person that I, as president, will make sure that finally I will give her an explanation of what really happened and make sure that we bring this to a situation where, like her, like myself who have children, she too her child can be accounted for.
It was recorded earlier today.
Yes.
That of former MP Alfred Keter being abducted in broad daylight. Mr. President, before you even talk about the entire incident, the children were screaming, and a sound that we believe belongs to the wife was also heard, screaming in distress. How does that make you feel?
3 things. I have told you, I made a deliberate decision to make sure that the police operate independently. That's number 1. Number 2, I have told you, if the police summon Linus Kaikai, and Linus Kaikai refuses to go to the police, are the police not entitled to come and look for you? When the police come to arrest you after they have summoned you and you didn't show up, is that an abduction?
So let's have this as a confirmation. That
no, I'm just asking you.
Let's have this as a confirmation, Your Excellency, that Alfred Keter was summoned by police. He refused to
the police have
respond to
issued
the
a
summons.
statement. I would suggest, instead of us having a back and forth, the police have released a statement. Can you check what the police have released, the statement?
And you still not answered my question.
Which
the
was?
wife and children screaming that way.
I mean,
how do you feel, Your Excellency?
I mean, my friend, every child, every mother feels the same when their parent is under attack. I mean, that is what it is. But let me ask you, what about the children? What about the children of those who have lost their lives because of the criminality of others? Don't they feel the same? So we just need to be a country of the rule of law. Impunity cuts both ways. Those who respect the law must be protected by the law. Those who do not respect the law must face the full force of the law. That's how it operates. That's how we will have a society.
Here is
the same way, we must condemn excessive use of police powers, but we must equally deal firmly and decisively with criminals who put the lives of other Kenyans in danger, destroy property of hard-earned earnings. There are many people, Linus, in this demonstration that have lost livelihoods, that today their children are crying. Today their wives are in tears because they don't know how to face tomorrow.
Mr. President,
their businesses have been wiped out. Yeah. Their incomes have been destroyed. I have just told you 2.4 billion shillings worth of business has been destroyed.
I hear you,
and today, as I talk to you this evening, there are families who have tears. There are families who do not know how to face tomorrow.
And I've asked you very specifically, President, how do you feel about those tears, especially those who have been killed by police bullets?
It is horrible. It is horrible. When you find a situation where people are grieving, whether they are grieving because their parents have been arrested, or they are grieving because their hard-earned earnings of many years, monies there, I have on my phone, people who are saying, I borrowed money. My whole loan has been wiped out. My whole barber shop has been destroyed. My whole hardware has been looted and burnt. And they are in tears. So I must equally work with the police to protect all these citizens. And it cuts both ways, Linus. It cuts both. They have to make sure the peaceful demonstrators are protected. But they also must make sure that the criminals, and when you say criminals, you know, when I said the other day criminals, many people took offense that I was calling the demonstrators criminals. That's not.
Families of the dead, Your
Excellency, that is not.
That's a lot of offense. Family of Rex. Rex was killed in a week when the protesters were very peaceful. The first week of these protests were peaceful. We saw protesters carrying
placards and water bottles.
Rex was killed on his way out of work.
Let me.
How do you feel? I mean, let me tell you when they hear you say criminals.
I mean, are you telling me Rex is the one who burned Parliament?
But Rex died without breaking anything.
No, I'm just telling you.
He died.
You know, Rex
there are criminals who infiltrated and caused mayhem, and in fact, some of the criminals are actually harmed. They actually harmed the peaceful protesters. Many of the peaceful protesters, they lost phones. They were attacked. In fact, some of the peaceful protesters were attacked by criminals, including a clear example of the one I have explained to you, that they overpowered the police, took the gun from the police, and started shooting innocent people. So we must deal with this situation globally.
Mr. President,
I feel for Rex and the mother. This should not happen to any child in Kenya, especially when they are engaged in a peaceful demonstration.
Mr. President, the concern I've heard from the young people, because I've been speaking to a lot of them, and they said they haven't heard you in the two statements. Actually, there are more now because you have spoken in other settings apart from the two addresses you gave. They haven't heard you address them. They haven't heard you talk to these parents. They haven't heard you acknowledge that there were people who were shot by police in circumstances that did not warrant that. Are you saying you haven't seen anything that bothers you about how police responded to these protests?
I am very, And in my first statement, I clearly said that innocent lives were lost. In my second statement, I said the same. There were innocent lives lost. But also equally, as a person who is responsible, I must think about those who are suffering because they were innocent. But I must also be concerned about those who are suffering because criminals cause them immense harm. And that is the balance that I need to be able to lead a country. I must protect everybody. I must protect the protesters, and I must be concerned about their lives. I must also protect innocent people who become victims of criminals who take advantage of a peaceful, democratic process that goes on in our country.
Do you feel that you protected all those people in the last couple of days, whether it is people who have businesses, whether it is Parliament, whether it is the people who lost their children?
I did my best. If I hadn't done what I did, things would have been much worse. In fact, many people ask me, Mr. President, why did you call in the army? I mean, what choice did I have? I mean, it would have been very reckless of me in the face of the kind of harm people had gone through, the 19 lives that were already lost, in the face of a burning Chief Justice office, Parliament, and the rest of it. I mean, it would have been very reckless of me not to mobilize every arm of government and every arm of our security agencies to protect the country and to protect lives. Those who attacked everywhere, those who destroyed people's shops are on CCTV. Many of them are on the run, but we will catch them.
Similarly, Your Excellency.
Are the funders
similarly, Your Excellency.
in
Similarly.
To your question, so the police are at it. Because if we don't deal with impunity, we will not have a country.
Now, similarly, Your Excellency, you speak of them, protesters being on CCTV.
Not the protesters, I'm saying the criminals who attacked Parliament.
Right. Now, every policeman also, without uniform, conducted an abduction, has also been captured on camera. Those who captured Shad Kiprono were captured on camera. Those who captured Alfred Keter today were captured on camera. And a number of other such incidents. Similarly, so that because I can hear you balancing.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, are we going to see action against the killer cops, or were they doing what you are saying you had to do to prevent this from being bad?
Any killer cop who went beyond what is provided for in the law, action will be taken against them. But to your question, are you telling me, Linus, that a police officer becomes only a police officer when they are in uniform? No. Police officers can identify themselves, even when they are in civilian. So, and when a police officer comes to you and says, this is my ID, I am police officer, you are under arrest for the following reasons, that is legitimate. You cannot tell me that because they were in civilian, then what they did was wrong.
And you know that's not what they do.
And
that's not what they did to Alfred Keter or Shad Kiprono.
Were you there?
We have the CCTV footage. It's there.
I would suggest, Linus, that we be fair to the police as well.
Mr.
And I have given you my word. Any police officer who does anything beyond the provisions of the law know the consequences. Just as any citizen who also participates in actions that are outside the law, they also know the consequences. And it is our responsibility to make sure that security agencies act in accordance with the law. As citizens, we act in accordance with the law so that we can have a law-abiding, rules-based, rule of law-based country.
As things stand now, Mr. President, are you satisfied with how the police handled this whole matter?
I think the police have done the best they could. If there are any excesses, we have mechanisms to make sure that those excesses are dealt with.
Let's wrap it this way, Your Excellency, on that topic. You have absolutely no regrets about the abductions and no regrets about the killings?
Those are your words. Those are not mine.
It's in the interest of moving this conversation forward, Your Excellency. I want us to look into the last 2 extraordinary weeks that this country has had. Protests that you called tribeless and some of your aides called leaderless. But protests that are led by young people who are unhappy with how you've run this country for the last just under 2 years now. But the question they have as they look at you and watch as you speak today, Your Excellency, do you get it?
I get it. Let me tell you, my good friend Linus. What we are facing today is not a product of 2 years. What we are facing today is a product of many years. We've had a problem, a youth bulge, a demographic challenge as a nation, which we have ignored for very long. For the first time, I have decided that I am going to be deliberate, I am going to be intentional on tackling the challenge of young people and unemployment in Kenya. First time, there is an administration that thinks about the young people. Let me give you 3 examples, maybe 4.
Well, let's keep it within the 2 weeks, please.
No, it's okay. It's the 2 weeks.
Yes.
But don't look at the 2 weeks in isolation. The young people we have in the street did not happen in the last 2 weeks. They were not born when I became president. They were not jobless when I became, they did not become jobless when I became president.
But I want us to...
These are young people who over the years, we have close to 4.5 million young people who are out of school, out of college, with degrees, certificates, diplomas, without jobs. And that is why I have done 4 things. Number 1, when I pushed the housing program, it was not about the houses, it was about the jobs. Today, as I talk to you, Linus, we have 160,000 young people working in different parts of Kenya under our housing program. In Mukuru here in Nairobi, and I challenge you, Linus, to go there tomorrow, there are close to 4,000 young people working who are jobless. Number 2, I have a whole program on digital jobs. I was in Ruto
now,
with the MP for... just allow me.
Allow me to interrupt you.
No, allow me.
There are risks on both ends of this interview.
No, you told me about
Your Excellency,
the young people.
Talk about the last 2 weeks. The young people are saying, you don't get it. You don't understand what they are talking about. Now, what is the trigger here? They're saying there was this conversation about the finance bill that your government, until the other day, could not listen to anybody. It's not about the housing project. It's about listening. They are saying yours is not a listening presidency, and yours is not a listening government.
How best can I listen to the young people of Kenya if I am not addressing their issues? And that is why I want to tell you, Linus, these young people, what is their biggest issue? They have talents. They have gone to school. They have no jobs. That is the problem. And I am addressing those issues. Housing is one of them. Digital jobs is another. I was in Ruto with Simon Kingara, the MP for Ruto, launching an ICT hub that will is actually hiring already 5,000 young people. Our whole plan, including what was in the finance bill, was to increase CDF by 10 billion shillings to roll out ICT hubs in every ward in the Republic of Kenya, so that we can hire young people, train them, put them on digital jobs. I have a third program on export of labor.
Mr. President.
I have a fourth program on manufacturing, to be able to create more opportunities for the young people of our country.
And we want to inform you, they're no longer just talking about things that can be done to them as a demographic. They are looking at the big picture. Finance bill brought them out. And when did they come in? They came in after all public participation forums were not listened to. Kenya Association of Manufacturers spoke to the parliamentary committee, same thing, and said this is a bad bill. Association of Insurance spoke to the parliamentary team, this is a bad bill. We had a big conversation on national television, this is a bad bill. You did not listen. You had a meeting here with your UDA MPs, and at some point told them to pass it as it is. And until the last week, that was the first Tuesday when the protests were there, when now you offered to some amendments. They're saying you're just not listening, and it's not about them, it's about the big picture issues, and we'll come to them, including the question of corruption, which is not really a youth thing.
The rejection of the finance bill, and this goes to what Linus has said, that we didn't hear anything. Let me tell you, the process of a finance bill, in fact, you know, many people believe in Kenya that the finance bill is an invention of William Ruto. It is not an invention of William Ruto. The finance bill is an instrument that has been with us ever since independence. Only that we have made it much more transparent. Only that we have brought out more to the public. And that is why there is greater interrogation of what government is doing, especially after the new constitution that made public participation not a sterile provision of the constitution, but public participation to be an integral part of lawmaking, an integral part of managing the country. Let me tell you, when we took the bill, when we formulated the bill, it had 346 billion of new revenue. When MPs went out to the public said, we don't think this is good. We don't think this is good. It was reduced by 140-something billion shillings. It remained just 200 billion. Doesn't that amount to listening?
No, it doesn't.
That the public said, reduce this by...
No, it doesn't.
No, but listening.
Yeah.
Just relax. We're talking about listening, okay? So the public said, reduce this by 146. We sat down, we cut down the areas, we reduced it to 200. What went into the space was the people who wanted to mislead the public, to say, oh, you see, in fact, everything you have been told is still there, this was not removed, these people are not listening, these people are not listening. And let me tell you, my good friend Latif, we have dropped the finance bill. Yeah? What does that mean? It means we have gone back almost 2 years. It means that this year we are going to borrow 1 trillion shillings to be able to run our government. That's what it means. I have been working very hard to pull Kenya out of a debt trap.
Mr. President.
Let me just allow me, because you know, we need to contextualize this finance bill. It is easy, Joe. It is easy for us as a country to say, let us reject the finance bill. That's fine. And I have graciously said, we will drop the finance bill. But it has huge consequences. It means we will not confirm the JSS teachers, 46,000 of them. It means we cannot support our farmers with 2 billion shillings for us to make sure that farmers get a fair return of 50 shillings per kilogram, per kilo of their milk. It means we cannot sort out the coffee debts. It means we cannot support the cherry fund. It means we cannot sort out the debts of farmers in Mumias. It also means that we will continue to import potatoes from Europe when we have potatoes in his village. You just told me in Kimana. We have potatoes in Nyandarua. We have onions all over the place.
That may well be. I think
Either you raise money from taxes or you borrow, period.
Yes.
There is no magic here.
There are Kenyans, Your Excellency, right now who do not listen to all that.
Yes.
They are not interested in that.
That's okay, but that's the reality.
But I need
If you are not, if you do not want to listen to reality,
Your Excellency, hang on, Your Excellency, because I need you to address a very important issue here, and that is one of a trust deficit. There are Kenyans who watch you, Your Excellency, and I don't know whether you are aware that they don't trust what you say. They don't believe what you say. Are you aware, Your Excellency, for example, that a lot of Kenyans increasingly don't associate the truth with you?
That is your assessment, because you have never associated the truth with me from the beginning.
No, there's quite a number.
That I would reduce the prices of fertilizer from 7,000 to 2,500. I don't know how that is a lie, because they buy it at 2,500.
Okay.
I told the people of Kenya we're going to have a housing program. A housing program is underway in Kenya. I can tell you, Linus, that whether you believe me or not, facts will not change.
Yeah, and
facts are not changed by who says it.
And allow me to step back a bit, Your Excellency.
And facts are very stubborn.
Allow me to step back a bit.
Yes.
And what I'll do is we'll play clips, just a little combination of clips of yourself speaking not too long ago, and I want us to listen to that. I'll stand out of the way because you said it's me that doesn't associate the truth with you, and I would like you to respond to yourself, to the clips that we are going to play.
But you see, Linus.
Let's watch that, Your Excellency.
I think, Linus,
yeah.
You don't bring clips that are in a biased way. You know, you select maybe something that has not happened. No. Can you be fair and select clips across the board? What I said and has been done, and what I said and maybe has not been done. I agree with that. It is not fair to use the police to harass citizens who have a contrary opinion. And that is perfect.
That's what they're accusing you of.
I still believe that.
That's what they're accusing you of.
But you don't tell me
Alfred
that...
Keter.
What is the problem with Alfred Keter?
Yeah. It's not a contrary opinion.
No, it's not a contrary opinion. I mean, the police have said why they arrested him. It is not because of me. I didn't give any instructions. I didn't even know what was going on. Let me tell you, Linus, I am a very clear-minded person on what I say. When it is the police, I have said. Many of the people who opposed me, many of the people who were very scared about what I would do when I become president, even the people who did worse things against me, I have never gone after them because I don't believe in settling political scores using the power of state or using the police. Let me also say the following. When I talked about the taxes that I was
campaign trail, yes.
I was addressing in the campaign trail, it was very obvious that when at that time we were in subsidies, that did not make sense. It is because I removed the subsidies and I changed and put production support. That is why today the price of unga has come down from 240 to 100. Because I changed the model. I changed the configuration. And it is giving us results.
But are you aware, Mr.
Serious concerns that have been coming out, including in the Gen Z demonstrations, is the question of corruption. And right through this interview, you've not mentioned the word. And even as you go into that, I want to give you two illustrations. Kenyans dealt with or encountered the problem of fake fertilizers. And you never took action against your cabinet secretary for agriculture. Before that, we had the scandal around the importation of edible oil, which, Your Excellency, we don't know where the edible oil is to date. I don't think it ever found itself to the market. Again, there is a cabinet secretary in that ministry. And also, what got into the market was condemned sugar. And when we look at all the information around these three cases, these are people close to you. They're cabinet secretaries. And so you are unable to take action against them. So why should you be trusted now to act? Because there are those who read and say you are really a hostage of those who campaigned for you to become president. They get away with anything.
Three things, Linus. We hadn't reached the question of corruption. So don't unfairly accuse me that I have not spoken to it. I am ready to speak about it. That's not number one. Number two, I fired the CEO of KEBS when the sugar thing came up. Number two, on fake fertilizer, the minister, Mithika Linturi, was taken through a process in Parliament. The CEO of National Cereals Board, the general manager of National Cereals Board, and other 7 members of staff are in court as I talk to you. The people who signed the contract, they are in court.
You spare big fish and roast the small fish.
No, let me just finish.
Yeah.
Because I need, Linus, you know, I am a fair person, and I am a believer in the rule of law. Even though I may not like you, but I must respect that there is a due process. The moment, you know, we will have a minister who is charged in court, meaning there is evidence that they have participated in crime. Believe you me, I will take the action that is necessary. But if somebody is taken through a process and that process comes out without an indictment, I mean, surely we must give somebody the benefit of doubt until it is proven. And the fact that the CEO, general manager, and all the people that were there who actually evidence was found have been arraigned in court, isn't that a step in the right direction?
What a political responsibility. What a political responsibility.
Let me finish. And then number 3, the other one you asked me was edible oil. The people who are involved in edible oil, I fired them, and they are in court. We have a new management in Kenya National Trading Corporation. In fact, we've just hired a new management for the Kenya National Trading Corporation. So those are actions that I have taken. And for your information...
Void of what Joe is calling political responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, but you see, else in the ministry can be...
But you see,
yes.
But you see, gentlemen, if there is no evidence against a minister, surely, do you want me to fire somebody if there is no evidence? You know, there was a time, Uhuru Kenyatta, as I served him as his deputy, removed 6 cabinet secretaries. But eventually, they were found that they were innocent, and we had to appoint them to be ambassadors. You know, so some of these, you know, actions must be tampered with process of law, you know, due process. So unless we follow due process, gentlemen, we will end up being something else.
Allow me up to this, just a moment, Eric, in a moment, because up to this point, Your Excellency, if I don't want us to lose the context, the last 2 weeks have been extraordinary. We've never seen anything like this. You have KDF troops in the streets of Nairobi. Up to this point, Your Excellency, and including on the question that I've just asked you of accountability within your government, do you think you are addressing the grievances that have made thousands of Kenyans across the country in places that were unimaginable to get out to the streets to say Ruto must go. Do you think up to this point they feel you've addressed their grievances?
I am not in their space. So I am doing what I believe I should be doing. I have taken the responsibility to withdraw the finance bill with all the attendant consequences. That I have done. I know what it means, and I know where it takes the country, and it is not a simple decision for me to make. And for your information, the finance bill was going to take Kenya big steps forward. But it's a sacrifice I've had to make because of the political reality that we are in. But it will mean counties will have to take maybe 30 billion shillings off their budget. It means we have to reduce CDF by maybe 10 billion shillings. It means we have to rethink about what to do with JSS teachers. It means we have to put on the freezer. We wanted to hire another 20,000 teachers because there are kids who do not have who do not have teachers. It means we have to work on our UHC program. We thought we would upgrade, for example, Linda Mama. You know, we thought we would upgrade Linda Mama.
There is something, Your Excellency.
It means we have to hold that, and it means many things.
Just told them what else they want to hear. You are speaking outward, but looking at the grievances, they are also asking questions inward from you, Your Excellency. And what I can hear from these grievances that have been expressed quite loudly, you said you are not in their spaces. We sometimes get into the spaces to listen to what they are saying. And all they're saying is you cannot be, for the next 3 years, the president that you've been for the last 2. So what is that you're going to change about?
That's why Linus.
Yes.
That's why Linus. That's why we are here. Of course, it's not going to be business as usual with the kind of reality we are faced with now. It has to be different.
Do you regret anything at all? What you should have done better? What your people would have done better?
Well, maybe there are things we should have done better. We should have communicated better. I think the biggest problem we have, even with the finance bill, because the finance bill has great things for Kenya. The finance bill says we shouldn't be importing potatoes from Europe. The finance bill says we shouldn't be importing onions or eggs from Europe. The finance bill says we should be growing our own industries. We should be manufacturing diapers in Kenya. We have 10 companies doing that. We should be manufacturing all those things in Kenya. We should be expanding our manufacturing capacity. That is what finance bill was talking to. But I am sure we will recover that when we have explained. The biggest challenge that I regret is that we didn't communicate better. Maybe we failed in explaining to Kenyans what the finance bill was all about. Because I promise you, if I am given a chance to explain to the people of Kenya what was in the finance bill and what the finance bill would have done for this country, every Kenyan would have agreed with me. But my regret is that
they would say you were here, Mr. President. They said you would have explained.
We didn't explain ourselves better. Maybe my communication team failed. Maybe I'm sure my communication team failed. Our communication architecture did not deliver, did not get the message out to the people of Kenya. In fact, if you look at what people were saying, they were saying, for example, there is a matter of land on the finance bill. There was no matter of land in the finance bill, not even a single line. And it is on that basis that people rejected the finance bill and many other things that were not in the finance bill.
Now, communication is about words, Mr. President. Let's go to the deeds, because when you see what Gen Zs are doing, for the first time in the history of this country, we've had protests on the altar of the Holy Family Basilica, because the young people of this country are telling you the political culture which you've been part of having politicians speak in church, converting the platforms into, converting the pulpit into campaign platforms must end. So I'm not hearing you addressing and looking more inward into this whole picture that the Gen Z is painting. They're not just talking about some of those things that you're raising.
On that, Linus, I have even had an occasion to speak to church leaders here. On that, on matters of politics on the pulpit, I am 100% aligned. We shouldn't be using pulpits in churches or in any other places of worship to prosecute politics. It is not right. And I agree, we need to change that culture. We need to change the culture of Harambee. Harambee started as a noble exercise. It supported many people to go to school. It supported many people to deal with the challenges of medication and hospital bills. But I think it has been stretched.
It bred corruption?
It has stretched too far. And I think it's time,
corruption?
As a country, we must stop corruption. We must stop Harambees, because it is occasioning and it is breeding, if I may say, corruption.
Yeah, because when your aid of a much lower pay grade donates 20 million shillings to a church fundraiser,
there is something fundamentally wrong. And that is why this conversation is necessary, so that we can stop it.
Conversation.
But when the public and the protesters, the Gen Z, some of who actually formed the base of your election campaign, are telling you, we are disappointed, you've not delivered. Hashtag Ruto must go. What do you tell them?
Let me tell them the following. Good friends, the young people of our nation, my sons and daughters who supported me to win the election. I hear you. In fact, I saw, I think it was on your headline, a gentleman from my village who was saying, the president has let us down. Many children in this village are not getting jobs locally. That is why they are going abroad. Little did he know, my good friend from my village, that the children, the 500 of his colleagues around our village, are actually part of my plan on export of labor. They have actually, I intentionally supported them to leave the country because we got them jobs outside Kenya. So I am telling the young people of our nation to be patient. Our housing program is rolling. We will be hiring more architects, we will be hiring more engineers, we will be hiring more professionals to support our housing program. In the next 2 years, we will have 300, maybe 1,000 people working in that space. Be patient. We are sorting out the challenges that are facing our digital space. We are rolling out our digital space. Young guys, by the end of next year, God willing, we will have a digital hub in every ward in Kenya, because we have already started that process. Every TVET in Kenya today has an ICT hub with young people monetizing their talent. I want to tell them we are full speed into manufacturing. That is why we're saying we're no longer importing clinker, we're no longer importing steel, we're no longer importing clinker, we are no longer importing furniture. We are going to stop importing eggs. We're going to stop importing onions and all this, because we want to promote our local manufacturing to be able to create jobs for them. We are no longer going to be importing diapers or sanitary pads from other countries. They are going to be manufactured here.
Mr. President,
I have worked with the industries to make sure that we create opportunities for these young people. We are going to work with them to deal with the challenge of corruption. We're going to work with them to cut down on government largesse. I am going to make sure that we have a lean government that responds to the reality of where we are as a country. That is what I am telling my good young people.
The young people.
Your Excellency, we're now going to our final questions. And my final question will be about the protests and the deployment of KDF, which you did a few days ago. Now, the Gen Z, millennials, and the online Kenyans that are organizing these protests are promising to be back on the streets on Tuesday. What should we expect on Tuesday when protesters, peaceful as some of them have been, turn up on the streets of Nairobi? Do we expect them to be chased away by the Kenya Defense Forces?
First, the Kenya Defense Forces will not be on the street. They only come as a last resort. If the demonstrations will be peaceful, I promise you, the police will be there to protect the demonstrators. But the police will also be there to make sure that the criminals, the fellows who come to burn offices, the fellows who come to loot property, will also be dealt with. That is my commitment. We must all operate within the law, and that is what it is.